Hey, I'm Brian Van.
I'm Max Van.
And today we're going to recap the 9th and final MotoAmerica Supersport round at
New Jersey Motorsports Park.
Okay, before we dive into the 9th and final round, let's say this. As I look at the season, I look at it as a very successful season. The 5th place finish at Barber, that was sick.
That was cool. Yeah, that was
the 7th place finish that you got at
Road Atlanta.
That
was cool.
That was very cool.
Of course, we wish they consistently went on, but life doesn't always go that way, but that's how it is.
That's how it is. And that was the most competitive field in decades.
Yeah,
I mean,
a long time.
Yeah. And those finishes were far better than the previous year.
Yeah, that's
right?
for sure.
I think you did a great job. We finished 13th in the championship.
Yeah.
Not terrible, and you did that, and you crashed out of some races this year, which
sure
you did not do the previous year.
And I'm not scared to ride in the rain anymore, which is cool. I like riding in the rain. I enjoy that stuff. So, yeah, let's get into New Jersey.
Boy, we were hoping it was going to rain at Jersey.
The whole
way
way there, it rained. The whole 10-hour drive, it rained the whole way. So I think we just got all rained out on the way there, unfortunately.
And then we had Sean Bice corner camping us in the fast lane in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny on the way to the track.
Yeah, but it showed rain all weekend, like all week. And then when we got there, it said it was raining at the times when the sun was out. It was a little bit of a weird weekend, so I kind of got my hopes up.
Yeah, but it's all good.
Yeah, it was cool. We ran.
Go ahead and break it down.
Yeah, so Friday was okay. I mean, FP1, it was so fast. I did a 24.3, which I think would have put me in second place last year in FP1. But this time, I think I was 16th. That was pretty far down. I was really far down, actually, and it was surprising. Everybody went so quick, and mainly, I hate to say it, but it was Matthew Skoltz just going out there, and he kicking all of our asses by like a second. It was unbelievable. That's kind of how it was all season, if we're going to be honest. And then, guess I knew what I needed to do for Q1, but unfortunately, like 4 minutes in, I had a small crash. I don't really have video of it. I think it might still be on the MotoAmerica live feed video, like just me tumbling. I think I tucked the front at like 100 and probably right around 100 miles an hour. Probably right there, maybe 110.
We'll have to see if Clark can dig that up and put it in here.
There's really nothing. I've tried to do some research on it. They just have me kind of flying through the gravel trap, and that was probably the first crash ever that I got up from it, and I thought I might have been hurt. That was the only one, But yeah, I think I finished 19th. I did the same time that I did in FP1 within 2 to 3 flying laps, but yeah, I biffed it pretty good, and he had his work cut out for him.
Oh, yeah. So. No, that bike was messed up. I mean, that bike was forks, triple clamps, subframe, fairing stay, bodywork, fuel tank.
Enough.
Yeah, that bike was wrecked, and actually, when they brought it off the truck,
he thought it was total.
It looked like it was probably totaled, but fortunately, the triple clamps, they were soft enough that they actually took the brunt of it. The forks, once I got them off the bike, they looked straight enough that it was worth having Barry at Olin's take them apart to see and they ended up being bent. Not as bent as they appeared initially, but whatever.
I remember the cartridge was not bent.
The cartridge was fine.
The cartridge was fine, but
the outer tube, itself, the tubes were tweaked a little bit, but man, when it was sitting there on the stand, it looked so bad.
Yeah, he was he didn't look very happy with it.
And he had all across his forehead. I mean, he had a bruise on his forehead.
I had a gigantic bruise.
Yeah, you hit hard. You never lost consciousness. Never had a headache.
No, but it was just purple. Right along the ring.
We didn't go to medical, but I didn't really see personally a reason to go to medical. His girlfriend was there that weekend, and I did tell her, because they left the track. Like, I'm going to stay till you're done. I'm like, that's stupid, because this is going to be a minute, dude.
Yeah.
And, I told her to keep an eye on him the whole time. You just want to make sure, in case there's a concussion, which ultimately there was not. His pupils look fine, all that stuff. And so when I get back to the hotel room, I think by the time I got done working on the bike, I think I probably had a couple of White Claws after me and Jimmy and Chris probably hanging out for a minute, talking a little shit. What did I get back there? 11:30, 12 o'clock?
And this is how he wakes me up. This is how he wakes me up when I'm asleep. I've probably been asleep for like 2 hours. He goes, "Yo,
You can't do that to your dad, man.
Yo, you good, man?"
I didn't do. I have a little light on my. Check that out. That's like some James Bond shit, right? That's LEDs, baby.
And now I'm sitting
So
there.
I did that, but I had to make sure you were good, dude.
I was sound asleep, man.
And then I actually talked to him. I asked him a couple of questions that he had to answer. You know, to be fair, the kid's always been a little retarded, so I didn't make the questions that complicated.
No. Yeah.
And then I looked at his pupils. Everything looked good. I let him go back to bed.
Yeah.
And then we show up. And one thing that I found about you, and this is something you're still working on in your riding.
Yeah.
Some people can weed the shit out of a bike.
And go out and go 2 seconds faster the next
Correct.
time. Yeah, it was.
Are you there?
I'm not there, no. And I think it's going to take some baby steps because I care about my physical health sometimes, actually all of the time, more than I probably should. I mean, it's a dangerous sport, and I have the equipment in case if I fall. But just in case, I'm a little conservative. I never really ride 100% on the limit. Maybe 85, 90. Just being completely honest.
It's fair.
But
it's your body, and those are the decisions that you should be making.
Yep.
And you've gotten good results riding it the way you're riding it.
Yeah.
And I will say, when we got to Q2 on Saturday morning, I knew that crash in Q1 was going to be a little bit of a setback for him, not only from the lost track time, but a little bit mentally trying to recover from it. So I asked you to do one thing for the entire weekend.
Just try, go a little faster, I'd say. And I went faster than I ever did in New Jersey. I qualified in, I think, 15th or 14th, 15th. I don't know how, because I went
23-1.
I went really fast, yeah. And I think Matthew Skoltz, I'll have to look at the sheets. He was somewhere in the 21s, and it was unbelievable. I think I was 2 seconds off of him. And that was for sure the lap record. And I remember at the end of Q2, he blew his rear tire out, or front, whatever it was, because he was riding so hard. Yeah. Rear tire.
Race there was a whole tire controversy.
It was a
couldn't use the R4s, which is the tire that we had used all year. So then we had to go to the R6.
Yeah. Race 1 came along. I was in a battle with a couple guys. Good time, whatever. I finished 15th, so kind of started where I finished. The race got stopped early because P.J. Jacobson was battling. He wasn't battling with Matthew Skoltz. That he took off. That was the end of that. So his championship was lost. Sorry, P.J. It was just a lost cause that day. But his tire blew, I think with halfway through the race. So they called it really early. I think it was a 20-lap race, and we only did maybe 12, 13. And
I think you were in a spot there, too. The group you were in a good position.
Yeah, I was going to win it for sure.
You could have won that group, and whatever. But, I mean, that's part of it. We didn't have the same tire issues. There was a lot of chatter in the paddock as to where the tire issues came from. The general consensus was, Dunlop gives us minimum tire pressures.
Yeah.
And they probably do that for a reason.
Just to be safe. And some people were going too low or too high or something.
Significantly lower than what was recommended. Yeah. And it's, rumored that maybe that contributed to the blowouts. I personally, don't give a shit.
Yeah, I don't know who gives a shit. And it worked till it doesn't, but we worked till it didn't. But yeah, next day, warm-up was cool. It was honestly a learning session because they gave us the rear tires we ran last year. I think they had some they overnighted some real quick. And yeah, we used the R7 in the race and in warm-up, and that was good. I finished 15th in the race. It was just kind of started where I finished. I battled with Gabriel Da Silva a little bit. It was cool growing up. Gabriel Da Silva was a successful club racer when I had just started racing. So I used to watch videos of him dragging elbow and backing it in. So it was cool to kind of, I guess, have an experience with him going back and forth and just plain old having a good time. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like you were having fun out there.
Yeah, it was
you could kind of tell after that big wreck on Friday, you were putting effort into it without question.
Yeah.
Were you giving it your 1,000%? No.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You could kind of see that. You could see that from the sidelines. And, once again, what I'm going to tell you is, at the end of the day, you're the only one that can make those decisions, dude. Yeah.
Yep. I got an issue with my right elbow. I don't know exactly what it is. And we talked about it a little bit. I used to do a lot of push-ups back in the day, every day. I'm dead serious, 500 to 1,000. It was ridiculous. And I think doing those consistently for a little over a year caused me to have it's like a tendinitis pain. I can't feel my hand. It's not an arm pump to where it's like I do many bicep curls. It's something here. I don't know if it loses circulation, something's too tight, or what the deal is. But I remember after morning warm up,
I remember that too.
I had to ice my elbow just so I could be good for the 2 hours, and it was fine on the out lap, and then the warm up lap hit, and then I was like, holy shit, it's back, and I'm like, whatever, kind of got.
It's hard to ride when you can't feel the controls.
Yeah, I kept having to adjust the brake lever because I thought it was, with the remote adjuster, because I thought it was wrong, I had brake fade, and I don't really think I did. I think it was just me not knowing where my hand was at the whole time, but.
And I think we dealt with that problem from Mid-Ohio.
I think it was Mid-Ohio. We did a test day after Mid-Ohio, and I remember after the first session, my girlfriend, she had to go and give me ice. Yeah, it was pretty bad. But then it was okay all day because I took some Advil, and then it just progressively got worse. And I think at COTA, I barely rode. I got almost no laps in.
So you didn't, yeah.
It didn't really hurt, but then New Jersey came along, and yeah, it hurt a little bit, so. Yeah, but overall, it's a good time. I finished 13th in the championship, which is one position better than last year. Of course, we were off to a better start of the first 3 rounds of the year. But shit happens, man. Life doesn't always go your way, and of course, there's remorse. I wish I would have tried a little bit harder while I had the chance, but it was a blast overall. New Jersey's awesome. Maybe it could have rained. That would have been a lot cooler. But
I think you learned a lot this year.
Yeah.
I do feel like, even though you didn't get the results you wanted, especially as we got into that second half of the season, the way it started, it really looked like, okay, you had the ability to go on a tear. And I'm not sure the reason why, but we just couldn't get those other steps forward as the season progressed. I think it ground on you a little bit.
Yeah.
But still, you're a better rider now.
The
experience being on the team was great. We learned a lot.
Trying new shit, different bike setup.
Yeah.
We learned a bunch over the years. Yeah. Or over the year, because Chris and John and everybody else on the team, they have decades of experience that we personally didn't have. So we're going to be grateful for that. And
100%.
Yeah.
And you're young. You got a lot of years in front of you. And
you never know.
What you're doing today, that doesn't have a lot of impact on what you can be doing in the future. I think your capability is very high. I mean, you have this huge advantage. He has basically a photographic memory, right? So he needs to see the corner, about one time to remember it really well. Every time that he's applying brakes or throttle, he can basically remember exactly where he did it and how he did it. And an example of that is we went to NCM to do a track day, and that's a really technical track. And you were ripping.
Yeah, I was pretty fast. I think I was. It's got a couple long straightaways, a couple fast flowy corners. NCM's an awesome place. I remember last year, Precision had an awesome deal where it was 3 days of riding for $500. So, we couldn't really pass that up. We went and had a good time, and I coached and overall had a blast. And yeah, man, I learned the track. I think I was 2 to 3 seconds off Hayden Gillum's Superbike lap record there. I think he's somewhere in the 47s. I did a 50.06, so I almost got a 49. I blew one corner. That's probably why. But yeah, I love that.
And you did
place.
that almost immediately.
Yeah, I did that almost immediately. That track's so much fun. A perfect track day track is for sure Precision, is for sure NCM.
We're looking to go back there more for sure.
Would I race there? No, it doesn't seem super safe if I'm not kidding. But fuck,
walls,
man.
A lot of walls.
But riding there, dude, it's cool. And the facility's awesome. So yeah, a good time.
So what are we doing in 2026?
Yeah, we're gonna back off on the racing just a little bit. We're still gonna ride, of course. There's nothing more than I love going fast on anything, whether it's a road race bike, a snowmobile. I love doing that. I love riding my dirt bike as well. But yeah, we're gonna do 3 rounds, just kind of dial it back to a third of the season. We're gonna be coaching a lot with Precision Track Days, having a bunch of fun doing that. But yeah, we're gonna do MotoAmerica. That's number 1. Then VIR. Then Mid-Ohio. Those are 3 tracks that I love, and they're local. So maybe. I guess, my girlfriend, my mom, my family, we'll all just come out and have a blast and hopefully ride good and go pretty fucking fast. So
100%.
Yeah, it's cool.
On to 2026. Thanks, everyone, for all your support. Thanks for watching. Thanks to all of our sponsors for making all of this possible.